One of the biggest fears that I pick up when I'm talking with other private practice owners who are marketing their practice is the fear of wasting marketing dollars and getting no response. And today I want to touch on one of Dan Kennedy's 3Ms, which the 3Ms are market, media, and message. And the issue that I promised that we'd touch on this week is the target market or public, depending on what verbiage you're going to use. But who do we want to respond to our message? And in his book, and I'm taking this from the Ultimate Marketing Plan, all of our subscribers here at Breakthrough PT Marketing get a copy of that. You should get a copy for yourself if you're not a subscriber and you're looking to increase the profitability of your clinic. But the ultimate marketing sin number 2 is wasting your weaponry aiming at the wrong targets. And I see this a lot. And one of the little secrets from we just did the Pops Killer webinar is per physician, I spend a lot less money marketing to the physicians in the Pops practice and the hospitals than I do with the other physicians. Why is that? Because once I get a referral from a family physician, that patient, as long as we stay in contact with them, when they do go for orthopedic surgery, they're going to tell the surgeon, hey, I went to Madden for my back pain, I want to go there after my knee replacement as well. And that surgeon is powerless to do anything other than lie to the patient or violate some sort of Stark law. So that is very much the secret of the process that we've created. However, I will turn around and invest a lot in marketing to that physician by way of luncheon, by way of not bribing, but by investing more of my time, money, and resources in marketing going to that physician. For example, we spent a lot of money developing a kiosk for the top 3 exercises, which is the huge YouTube driver that we have going right now, where we have the top videos in the world for 6 or 7 different conditions. We created this. This is 3 or 4 years ago. This top 3 kiosk where physicians have it in their waiting room and they hand it out, and we don't have our logo on it or contact information or anything else. We'll talk more about that at a later time. But that is a huge investment, and we have a full-time marketing person who goes around to the offices and makes sure that those are full. So I'm willing to invest a lot in the physician, the family physician, who is independent or may not be independent, because you can offer educational material to the hospitals without the hospital saying you can't hand that out, as long as it doesn't over promote your physical therapy practice. So we're doing something that's of value to the physician, is not nixed by the hospital, is not nixed by the ortho clinics as well, and we're able to harvest those referrals down the road. So I don't waste a lot of money and resources on marketing to the orthopods, because I'm not going to be able to directly influence that the way that I really want to. I'm also going to pull a quote here from the chapter that discusses markets, and I believe it's chapter 3. And Dan's quote is this: if you were going to open a new hamburger stand in town and you could have any one asset or advantage, what is the one thing you would want the most? And this was a question asked and answered by Gary Halbert. And you may remember me discussing Gary Halbert in the past. He wrote this book, The Boron Letters, and you can go to GaryHalbert.com and read a lot of his writings. And as I mentioned, he's the late Gary Halbert. But the answer is a starving crowd. And that's the same exact thing that you're looking for as a therapist, is somebody who's going to be highly responsive and highly likely to respond to your ad or your call to action and be able to come in and be serviced. Again, going back to that problem that I think we tend to have as private practice owners is, especially in a desperate situation, we'll say, I'll treat anybody. And that's very not the way that it's not the thought process that is going to lead you to success. The correct thought process is I'm going to do a direct mailing specifically for, let's say it's stenosis, because that's my most responsive group. And in looking at our analytics, our statistical analytics of customer value, we know that somebody with stenosis, when they come in, that has occurred over a long process or a long time period, and that the healing process is not going to be a 3-visit BPPV correction. It's going to be a longer plan of care, and those visits tend to be a little bit longer because we're doing traction, manual therapy, and exercise. If we're using evidence-based practice as we promote very often. So, who's the group most likely to respond to that? It's going to be women, number one, between the ages of 45 and 65, or the way that we advertise it is 50 years of age or older. They have pain with standing and walking. They have relief with sitting, and they live in our area. That's the most responsive group. We can break that down even more, and we can legally discern or discriminate and say, okay, we only want married women who live in our area and who have household incomes of $100,000 a year or more. That gets our market down even more precise. So we might have 15,000 in the first group. We might only have 25,000 or 2,500 in the second group. So I think that's actual in our area. Within a 5-mile radius, we only have 2,500 females in that age bracket who are married and have incomes of $100,000 a year or more for their household. We could take it a step farther and see through a company like InfoUSA or Research USA, we could see if they've bought anything by mail in the past year, because those individuals are more likely to respond. So we can get very, very specific on our marketing dollar, and while that may not seem like a big deal, if we mailed a 15,000, let's say it cost us $1 a piece to mail a 2-step postcard campaign, and we get 150 responses. So 1 out of every 100 respond. So if we have 100 responses and our average, or 150 responses and our average plan of care is $1,000, that's $150,000 coming in. Again, we're not talking about the message match yet. We're just talking about the market. Now let's narrow that down to 2,500. The gamble or the bet is, or the educated guess is, that most of those 150 that responded when we mailed 15,000 are also going to be in the 2,500. So we might not get a 1% response rate, might get a 5% response rate, and our profitability for that mailing goes up infinitely or exponentially as we continue to grow that list and look at exactly who's responding to our mailing list. The one common thing that I see in a lot of marketing programs is this huge pressure on quantity, and that is great, but that is not the whole process. You need to, somewhere along the line, like once you get the quantity out, it's diligence, and Dan has a warning on this on page 45. You can read the warning at the bottom, because it is hard work, and it is diligence to go through and say, okay, where and who are the people that are responding to this ad? And then get smart the second time that you do that ad and go specifically to those people, go specifically to that market. Also, other references to that chapter, on page 38, Dan talks about, there's a really good story about learning the lesson for him, and he shares a life story there. You should definitely read that. And on page 43, he references Acres of Diamonds by Russell Cromwell, which is a classic one. I have my 8 and 10-year-old reading that. And then also he references Earl Nightingale, who, and a lot of people will reference him as well, Earl of the Strangest Secret, and also I think the work that Dan references is in there is Greener Pastures. So if you're a PT private practice owner who swims upstream and is looking for other references, so far today we have the Dan Kennedy, The Ultimate Marketing Plan book. We have the Gary Halbert, the Boron Letters reference, and then the Earl Nightingale reference, and then also the Russell Cromwell Acres of Diamonds. They are all must-reads if you're serious about increasing the profitability of your clinic, especially if you have a dire need to fund a college fund, or fund your own 401k, or maybe you got hit like we did with a 70% increase in our health insurance premiums as a group across the board. So, where is that money going to come from? It comes from being really smart with your marketing dollars and getting the greatest return. It doesn't come from getting burnt one time because a radio ad came in and you bought $5,000 on radio that produced nothing, and then you shut down all marketing effort for the rest of your career. That's not the way to handle it. It's to be smart, and that's the purpose of me sharing this with you. Dan has one more comment at the end of the chapter that I want to share with you, and it's, your net profits from marketing will be determined more by your diligence with this discriminatory selection of prospects than by anything else. So it's our profitability is directly related to our return on investment from marketing. And our return on investment from marketing is based on our ability and our diligence in selecting the market that we're marketing to and getting our message to. If we pick the right market and we have the right message match with the right language and so forth, which we'll talk about at a later time, and we're using the right media, when that population of people and that target market typically responds to, we're going to have a winner. And we're going to be able to blow off the doors of our clinic and cave the floors in and fill our schedule books as well. And that's exactly what we've done in a calculating effort over the course of 11 years with a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. So we will continue this discussion tomorrow with the marketing thought of the day. Thank you.